Yeah, I totally thought Metazoo was a joke. Well, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic week, a fantastic day. I hope that today you are finding joy in something in your life. Today we are going to continue our reflections of 2021. I'm not sure we'll have one of these every day, but I think the idea is going to be to have one every day if I can get to it, where we're gonna, go watch yesterday's video on Monarch and Flesh and Blood reflections, but we're gonna look at some things and some news of 2021 and reflect on it, learn something from it for myself, and then say, this is what I'm going to do differently in 2022. Learning from the past, making differences in the future. What this is all about. So I want to talk a little bit about Metazoo, because I thought that Metazoo was a joke. I'm not gonna lie. I thought Metazoo was a joke. I thought Metazoo was stupid. Long story short, you've heard this on the channel, but in August of 2020, I actually backed Metazoo on Kickstarter for about 13 minutes. I was sitting in my chair, putting my daughter to sleep. She had fallen asleep, but I was waiting to put her in the actual bed. I always got on Kickstarter, and I had a Kickstarter addiction, and I would back things, and then my wife would tell me to cancel the backing. And that's exactly what happened in Metazoo. I saw it, and I said, oh, this looks kind of cool, whatever, and I hit back. And then I didn't think anything of it after I stopped backing it after 13 minutes. Well, then flash forward, that was way before I started the YouTube channel. I started the YouTube channel, I started doing live streams, and all of a sudden people started in the live stream saying, hey, you should open some Metazoo. I was like, what is Oh, that's that game that I remembered on Kickstarter. I kind of laughed it off. I was like, no TCGs can survive. I did that whole thing. And then all of a sudden, Mike popped into the chat and he was like, hey, I'll send you a box to open. And so he did. And then he sent me the box to open, and it was crazy. It was like a crazy experience because I still didn't like it. I was opening a box and I still didn't get it. I still thought the artwork was silly, and I still looked at it and whatever. And I can't get this pack open. It's so frustrating. Where's my knife? Rudy! Thanks, Rudy. Anybody know how much obnoxious 9 did I pull that? But the chat loved it. The chat was all about it. So I decided to look into it more. And the more that I looked at it, when I realized that Mothman was from 40 minutes from me, that was a card in the set that was something that I recognize and I like. I started to like it. I started to like the artwork. Anyway, the rest of that is history. You've seen it on the channel. You've seen me move from somebody who was very skeptical to then somebody who had an interview with Mike, and hearing his heart and his desire to create a game. I just kind of fell in love with the idea. This channel was my COVID project, and it's been successful, and it's been cool to see. And Metazoo was very much Mike's COVID project, so I really resonated with that. Anyway, that's all history. But looking back, I think there are three points of information that were vastly significant to me thinking that Metazoo is more than just like some Kickstarter thing, another thing like that. And those three things I think are very important to reflect on from 2021. And so here we go. Number one, the Aoki announcement. When Mike said, when Metazoo Games said, hey, Steve Aoki is now, a co-founder. He's somebody who has that title and is that connected to the game. What that did for me is it brought a line of legitimacy to Metazoo as a company. Like, no disrespect to Mike, but I don't know Mike, and I didn't know Mike. I didn't know his story, didn't know whatever. And by bringing Steve Aoki in, it brought this kind of legitimacy to Metazoo that, like, oh no, now here's somebody that has really, really big connections. Aoki's also somebody who historically, when companies work with Aoki, it's a pretty good thing. He doesn't, leave him high and dry. He doesn't cut. It's just that it seems like he's a good business owner, a good person. And he has those connections. And that when it was said that it was a partnership and not just like a Steve Aoki card or something like that, that's when I knew, like, hey, this is something that's different. This is something that I think can accomplish some of the lofty goals that Metazoo has. And that Aoki announcement really hammered in this kind of idea of something that can stand the test of time. You know, Aoki's pretty big in the card world. He has a lot of connections. You've seen that already. You've seen like King Pokemon opening stuff. You've seen all the things. Anyway, the connections there really open the door. The second really big announcement, I think, that kind of gave me this idea that, hey, Metazoo's got this. It's going to have a good continue. It's not just a hype, fad or whatever, was the Walmart announcement. Walmart saying that they are going to carry Metazoo in 4,000 stores starting in January of 2022. This announcement seems like a go big or go home thing. This announcement to me seems like Metazoo, putting their money where their mouth is and saying, no, we are going to become like a Pokemon. Like, we are going to do this IP thing. We're going to be in big boxes. And there's a lot of misconceptions about this. I think initially even I was like, ooh, is this going to be good for LGSs? But it turns out that these products are all... they're more of like the auxiliary products. Even, I think this is really cool, they're going to have exclusives. Like, I think I heard that in, not Wilderness, but maybe UFO, one of the next sets, they're going to have exclusive Walmart tins that are going to be only available there. And I think stuff like that really, brings this game into different spheres. When I was a kid, I used to go to, I don't know if the kids still do this, but my 2-year-old doesn't, but, when I was a kid, I used to go to the trading card aisle and just look at packs all the time. Just like pull down the baseball pack and pull down, the Pokemon pack or pull down the Topps pack. I would just look at packs all the time, and I would end up, trying to convince my mom to buy me something. Usually ended up being Pokemon Topps packs. But, that idea where, like, it's like marketing, right? You're selling product, whatever, but being there in that aisle with all these other TCGs is marketing, and it's going to widen the reach of Metazoo outside of these pockets of a community. We get really stuck in these pockets of Facebook groups or Discord servers or YouTube channels, where we get stuck in these pockets where we think these games are bigger than they are because everyone around us is an echo chamber. But this breaks out of the echo chamber and puts Metazoo into a world where more and more people can find it, and then they can look it up and say, oh, where can I find more of this? And then it gets them to their LGS. So I think that's a really, really cool announcement. And then the last announcement, I think that for me, got me really excited in 2021 for 2022 is their organized play program. And to me, like, we still don't have the details about the organized play program, but I actually think that 2022 is going to be a year where Metazoo focuses on organized play. I think it's going to shake up the attitude of Metazoo a little bit. These kits are going, and we don't know what they look like yet, but we know that they are working on them, and they're going to encourage players or collectors to become players, because they're going to want the rare foils and the rare whatever, and they're going to encourage stores to not just sell product but actually host events as well, which is a really big thing. And this is a thing that we've seen in a lot of the alternative TCGs, that there's a shift, and there needs to be a shift between, okay, this is collectible, to, okay, this is also playable and fun, and here's a reason to play it. And I think that shift is coming. I think that shift is going to happen. And what it says is that Mike wants growth in this kind of player sphere. He's got the growth in the collectible side, and now he's ready to focus and want the growth on the player side. And Crypto Nation's second edition comes out, and prices are pretty cheap. Patrons, we got the sale on Thursday. Prices are really cheap. It's a really great way to get into the game. And this is the perfect time, going into 2022 for that. So here's what I've learned from this. I doubted Metazoo. I really did. In 2021, I doubted Metazoo, and because of that, I missed out on sample cards. I missed out on, Kickstarter at $100 a box. I missed out on a lot of things. I missed out on that early kind of cycle and whatever, and I really doubted the game because I looked at it and I didn't actually look into it. And one of the things I've already started to do as a result of that, as learning from that, is that I always look into everything. That's why you see a lot of different games on my channel, because as I look into something, I found that I really want to be a person that has an open door to other games and content, because there might be something that you like, there might be something that I like that is different out there. And I think just saying no based on these intrinsic things, I don't know if that's the right word, but saying no based on these, like, the looks or whatever, it's just silly. Like, I missed a lot of things because I said no. And so for 2022, my goal for myself is to, like, be more open-minded about all sorts of different trading card things, all sorts of different games, all sorts of different things, not because they're going to moon and be highly successful or whatever. And honestly, like, I don't think Metazoo is highly successful yet. I don't think Mike would say Metazoo has been highly successful yet. The gap between where Metazoo is and where Metazoo wants to go is still massive. There's still a lot of growth that Mike wants to see happen. And so I think the point is that just because a game doesn't have that goal or that potential doesn't mean that it's not worth playing it or looking at or having fun with. And so for me in 2022, I just want to have a more open policy. And then, so leaning into that, I think some advice to you. 2022, don't buy things for more than MSRP. I think as the print runs increase, the size of the game is also going to increase and the player base is going to increase. But really be looking for MSRP. We've kind of seen this with the other sets, that, MSRP seems to be a healthy place to get into the products. But I would be really cautious to you that every time we see these kind of high pre-orders, usually they don't last that long for any of these alternative TCGs. So I really think ordering at MSRP is really smart. Anyway, I think Metazoo's primed. They've got this huge release schedule too. I really like that they've got the different games lined up, so we know that Wilderness is coming, and then the UFO set, that's going to be sweet in 2022, and then I think Seance is the one after that. Anyway, long story short, don't judge a book by its cover. It's pretty basic information. That's what I did with Metazoo, and I regret it in 2021. Like, I regret that. But now I'm here, and I'm back. So anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Remember to be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.